Hey everybody, it's James Vagley here. Welcome to another episode of the MBA podcast. And today we have an interesting topic called the new world of direct messaging. And it's actually not even that new, but I think for a lot of brokers, implementing this in their business is quite new. I'm looking forward to this episode, listeners. Hope you're doing well. And in the other corner, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Ash Playstead with me. How are you today, sir?
Well, it's nearly the middle of winter, nearly halfway through the year, and I'm in my traditional Melbourne black, as befitting of the time of the year, James. I'm very, very well. I hope you're well too, and I am looking forward to this topic as well.
hmm And you love winter, don't you? I don't like winter very much, but we're sort of a bit yin and yang on that, I believe. Listeners, be interesting to know if you're a winter lover or a winter hate is a bit of a strong word. It's not my preference.
Oh, you winter haters. Love winter.
Winter haters, classic. Uh, Listeners, depends on where you are. It could be nice and sunny if you're up north. It could be even colder if you're down south. But yeah, we are talking about the new world of direct messaging. Um, yeah, as I said at the start, it's not really a new world. This has been around for years. And I think the mortgage industry and a lot of businesses have been really slow to adopt on this uh, strategy. And let's just get straight into it because we kind of all know what the problem is. But I think a lot of people keep banging their head against the wall. Well, what's the problem? People don't want to answer the phone anymore. That's the first problem. Second problem, the email channel, which I mean, we've been around a while, Ash, and we've seen the evolution of email. We're old enough to know when emails weren't a thing, and when emails became super popular, and you loved communicating with your friends and family and business. Now, email is essentially a junk box. It's essentially gone the way of the old mailbox back in the day where nobody sends letters anymore, and the only thing that goes into your physical mailbox was like newsletters and junk from around there. Email is now like that. Question. This is a question for you, Ash. Listeners, you can think about this yourself. When was the last time you actually got an email from someone you know as a person, as a friend, that was like a real email written? Can you remember, Ash?
I get two a year from best man in my wedding. Hello, Anthony. How are you? Not that he's a mortgage broker. He's old school. He still uses phone calls, and he writes two emails a year that are written by him. He's a bit of a he loves that sort of stuff, but it's very unusual. Out of all the people I know, he is the only person who sends an email that's not automated, that's written by him, and he does it once or twice a year. But nobody else, zero.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, you don't get anything personal in the mail, physical mail, and now you don't even get anything in the email anymore. So, listeners, email channel is essentially like disregarded. People ignore it. It's noise to them. They also don't like answering the phone. This is more of a recent phenomenon, and I guess it's different among demographics, Ash. But I don't know what you're like, but uh, I barely answer the phone anymore unless it's somebody. This is maybe going a bit deep, but even if it's someone I know, I probably won't answer the phone. And I think a lot of people are like this. Even if they're expecting a call, rarely they answer a phone. Brokers are different. Brokers, we're still in that. The phone rings, we answer it. We're in customer service. We're here to help customers. If I don't answer the phone, I might be missing a deal. So we're used to answering the phone. But your customers and people in general don't want to answer the phone anymore. Um, this is a trend that's been evolving over the last number of years, Ash. And I don't know if you've got any insights or thoughts on why that is the case, but um, whether it's just too many spam calls, lives are getting busier, or the introduction of what we're about to talk about, which is direct messaging, has got to the point where it's like, I just can't be bothered. I would rather text or DM somebody because it's easier for my brain to work process.
Yeah,
Laziness. What's your thoughts?
those reasons, James. I really do. I mean, I've got a millennial aged son who doesn't answer phone calls, right? They just don't. I don't answer phone calls, and I'm a baby boomer. You know, I'll only ever answer phone calls from people that I know. And even then, I might let it go to message. So you think about what's the reasons for that? Well, I think we live in an age now where people have become accustomed to scanning information before they respond. They want the opportunity to filter out what they don't want before they respond. That's part of it. So there's probably a multitude of other reasons, but I think what's more important is, well, how do you counter this? How do you be that sort of proverbial red fish in the blue sea or vice versa, right? How do you stand out? Well, it's direct messaging, right? So within direct messaging, I would argue there's also good direct messaging and there's bad direct messaging.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Let's leave it there for a quick teaser. Before we go into good and bad direct messaging, just to reinforce that problem in that, as you said, Ash, people answering the phone, whether it's boomers or younger people. Um, the problem is mortgage brokers are still trying to communicate with people using phone calls and emails. Like only a handful, a very small percentage of the industry have evolved into using channels that are actually appropriate, like SMS and DM channels now, Ash. But let's talk about the good and the bad first, because I want to get to, I think, actually, what is direct messaging for those that might be even more of a dinosaur than you and I?
Well, look, I'll use my preferred platform. Anyone who knows me knows that I love LinkedIn. So and I think most social platforms now include direct messaging. So a DM is simply somebody who you are connected with or that you follow can obviously contact you directly via a message inside that app, and that can be text or image or document or voice or video, right? All of those can form direct messaging, but I think ideally a direct message is text or voice. And then, of course, there's the bad and the good way to do it, as I would argue. James, I mean, you might have something to add to this, but for me, I've been on LinkedIn a long time, built quite a big audience there. I would get probably a dozen DMs a week, looking from people looking to try and engage with me to do business, not for mortgage broking, for their services, which could be whatever. And there's nothing that disengages me faster than somebody who DMs me with a canned direct message. Now, they've got better and better and better, right? I think the quality of what's being written in those messages is getting better and better and better. They're doing a little bit of research, but they haven't built any relationship. This is the golden rule. You must build a relationship with someone before you DM them. Now, that relationship can be formed through engaging with their content, right? Commenting on their content, sharing things with them that you think they might be interested with. You build up a bit of relationship collateral, then you go to the DM. And the DM needs to be really genuine, not salesy, because it's the thing that people object to the most is being sold in a DM before you really built a relationship with someone, before they really know you, before they've done any research to figure out whether you're actually interested in what they're offering. So that's the bad way of doing DM. I just delete those, boom, 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 right? But occasionally people get it right. They've done their research and they'll share something with me that I'm interested in. Great. I'll respond saying, hey, that's interesting. Thanks for going to the effort. And then you leave it at that. And then I'll see what their next DM is, which is, hey, I see you're interested in what I shared. Do you want to jump on a call to talk about it more? I mean, there's different ways to do that, but this is really, where I think you can have such impact is to understand how to do a good DM. I guess, James, I'm talking about DMing people who aren't customers or referral partners, and that's what you would like to do, right? But you can't go out there offering to sell them something. You've got to add value, and then the DM is the strategy to go offline, right? That's connecting what you're doing online with going offline. And I call offline a phone call or a Zoom or a face-to-face. All of those, even though they're done online, they're offline from the platform.
Yep. Yeah, it's an awesome first example to consider. Yeah, using DMs as relationship building tools, which is awesome. And it's across platforms, right? Whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, old school SMS, even Instagram. You can have, doesn't matter what the platform is. It depends more about the purpose and what you're trying to achieve. And maybe that's what we can talk about, Ash. Like, so people don't like answering the phone. They don't like emails. We should be using DMs, and our clients are using lots of DMs in lots of different ways. Maybe we can talk about that from using these within the prospecting phase, building relationship phase, all the way through to the loan process and keeping clients up to date phase. I think they're all equally as valuable as each other. For a mortgage broker, that's let's say either whether it's chasing docs, updating their client in between stages of the loan process. Are we using the phone? Are we using emails, or are we using SMS and DM channels? Let's maybe give a few examples that we can share about, like, when or where would I use direct messaging in place of the phone or emails?
Yeah, it falls into a couple of categories, don't you think? Like, you've got direct messaging, which is within the platform, and LinkedIn's an example, or Instagram, or Facebook. That's where you've engaged with somebody, and that's where you start the DMing. Then you've got DMing that's off platform, WhatsApp, Telegram. They're not a social media platform. They're a communications platform, right? So you don't engage with people on WhatsApp, right? But you might go to WhatsApp. Unless you're in a group on WhatsApp, then you might engage them. But WhatsApp doesn't really hold, certainly not in our industry, doesn't hold that social platform place as those other platforms do. So there's really those sort of two categories. So for me, an example and the tip I would give to anybody would be always use voice or video. That's my preference, because we live in this world, right, James, where everybody is worried about scamming and data security, and is that a phishing text, or is somebody trying to get me to click something to do something? And I just personally believe, and I actually feel this way when people are DMing me, if it's not clearly personally sent by them, I won't look at it. I won't open it. I'll just get rid of it. So how do you go around that? And I think a lot of people out there just in the general public would feel the same way. It's got to be clearly and evidently, genuinely from you. So how do you prove that? Well, with a video of yourself talking rather than a text or a document or a link. Or it could be a voicemail, right? That's clearly from you. Although even now, who knows what sort of things AI can do. I guess at the end of the day, there's always going to be a little bit of that. But I think you can mitigate the likelihood that people will ignore your DMs a lot by making sure they're clearly from you. And for me, that's video or voice. So, and I'm the same. When I receive them, send me a video that show a high degree of intent. You know what I mean by a high degree of intent? Show me that you are specifically talking to me. It's not a copy of something you've sent to 100 other people.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great one, because we can start to play in the world of direct messaging, and but if we do it poorly, it's not going to work. I think, whether it's the phone or emails or direct messaging, I think half of the reason why people don't respond to a phone call or a voicemail or even an email or a direct message is because we're using that platform wrong, which is a whole other kettle of fish. But I like seeing direct messaging used in the loan process or the prospect process. Following up with people. It's if someone's put their hand up to say, look, I'm interested in, for example, getting a home loan, investing in property, saving money. Well, we can keep trying to call them and email them to try and get them to a meeting, but those emails aren't getting read because they've got thousands of unread emails in their inbox and they're over it, and they don't want to answer the phone. And even if you left an amazing voicemail, they're not calling you back. People also don't call people back. So if you don't go, hang on, this is someone that's put their hand up, they're interested in my services, all I'm trying to do is hammer them on the phone and be annoying, versus send them a text, send them a DM, whether it's SMS, WhatsApp, find them on LinkedIn, connect and say, hey, I noticed, hey, here's a video. Hey, Ash, you put your hand up the other day for blank. I just wanted to reach out personally and see if you were still interested in that. Like, question mark.
Yeah.
And engage in a new school way of conversing with people. And they'll go, oh, sorry, been busy. No dramas, blah, blah, blah. And slowly and artfully move it towards the environment which you are looking for, which is probably a phone call or a Zoom meeting or a face to face meeting. But I
Like,
think we've got lots of case studies from our members, Ash, that have installed DMs or SMS in place of emails and phone calls, and their response and reply rate goes through the roof
yeah.
when they use these channels.
Oh, it does. It does. And something you said I want to pick up on, really interesting. Uh, Working with a client, this is a little while ago now, one of our clients who's since sold his business for a lot of money, and I'm sure the systemization of it had a big part to do with that. One of the things that he introduced, and this is a little hack, is every single loan he wrote, him and his team, one of the client management tools was every single client was directed over to WhatsApp. So as soon as he was sitting down in a strategy meeting, very early in the discussion, it was agreed that I will communicate with you on WhatsApp. And if you're not on WhatsApp, let's do it right now. Because, WhatsApp's very easy. Just download the app, put your phone number in, and bang, you're away. Right. So every single customer, as part of the loan process flow, instead of emails and phone calls, everything was shared in WhatsApp. So every individual client was taken through the loan journey via WhatsApp. Right. And when they've seen it because you get that double tick, right? And you can share videos, you can share documents, you can share all sorts of stuff. And most importantly, it's data secure and it's genuinely from you. So it removes all of those problems. So that's something I hadn't thought of, James. I'm glad you raised that. Introducing DMs as part of your loan process flow management and client nurture. Because guess what you've got, right, listeners? Guess what you've got if you take every client that you service into let's call it a WhatsApp relationship or a Telegram. Not only can you run it efficiently through there because they're free apps for starters, but you've got a mechanism to nurture the client post settlement exceptionally well also.
Mm.
So what a great strategy that was. And I've recommended it to a few brokers. I don't know that any have done it and it's
Yeah.
actually very easy to implement, right? Very easy to implement. So just take that as a little inside hack, listeners, that if not only did DMs form this terrific mechanism for engaging with people and bringing them into a relationship offline with you, they actually can be very useful in your overall workflow management.
Oh, yeah, big time. And that's, I mean, really all we're getting at is, using the channels that people are wanting to use. And that's just the way the world's going. Like, people don't want to answer the phone and they're ignoring emails. And listeners, how many times have you done this yourself where the phone rings and maybe it's a friend or a family member and you think, I'm a bit busy at the moment, don't quite want to have a conversation with them. But what do you do straight after? You text or DM them. Oh, sorry, just doing this. What's up? And then you might actually get in a text conversation when you didn't actually answer the phone. So you're free. You don't want to answer the phone. So all we're doing is understanding what's going on and how people are running their lives, and we're playing the game. Like, we're not banging our head against the wall trying to, get them to respond to an email or pick up the phone. We're, recognizing that people don't want to talk most of the time. And so we're going to start playing the DM game. And I think the more businesses and brokers get the hang of this, Ash, the more prospects will convert to clients, the more clients will come back for those reviews, will run repeat business, and so on. I think, it's a small hack, doesn't have to cost anything, make things faster and easier, and actually get you better results. I love this little one.
Yeah, 100%. Meet people where they are rather than try and drag them to where you are, right? And people are in the DM world. And I'm in my late 50s, I'm in the DM world. So I would argue this is not just for millennials or Gen Zers, who are a very significant growing part of the population. I think across the spectrum, meet people in the DM world because that's where they are. Don't try and drag them into your phone call and email world.
Well, let's leave it there, Ash. I think we've pretty much covered the topic, and we mentioned text and good and bad and all that. And it's up to our listeners to think about where they can start to use this in their business, from connecting with partners to in their loan process through to client management and everything in between. And I'm sure they'll get some big wins from a little strategy like this. So we've been talking engaged communities this month. This is another way to do it. So we'll see what we've got in store for next week. But I guess until then, Ash, stay cool, listeners. You do the same. And I guess we'll see you soon.
Next week, James.
Bye for now.